will now begin the Roundtable 1 on diplomacy. Distinguished guests and all of our speakers, welcome. Continuing from the MC, I'm going to be the chairman of this session. I am Chung Gi-yoon, the vice head of the HK+ National Strategies Research Project Agency. In today's forum, I am very delighted to be the chairman of the first roundtable session. Our head, Professor Kang Jun-young, said during his opening address that our project began in 2020 May, and we have been carrying out this project. We want to look for cross-national communication and to build cultural hubs through the contacts with the North and searching for solidarity. So this is one step. So we hosted the first forum last year, and this year we're hosting the second forum, and I would like to welcome and thank all the delegates who have participated the second forum. Many of you joined us during the first program. If you see the program, we have Turkey as a participant, but unfortunately he could not participate due to his schedule. We have increased our partner countries since 1948, August 15th.
Turkey is not in the program, but he is here. So what I told is okay. Sorry. 대한민국은 1948년 8월 15일
So Korea, since the launch of our government in 1948, we continued with our diplomatic efforts and increased our diplomatic relations. And there were 2 years that were significant. First was in 1962, which was stressed by Mr. Ban Ki-moon. We established 28 diplomatic relations and 18 countries in 1992. Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Azerbaijan, we all established diplomatic ties in 1992. So this year marks the 30th anniversary, and I know there's going to be a lot of events held this year to commemorate this 30th anniversary. So this year marks the 35th year of our diplomatic relations with the northern countries. So this was possible thanks to our northern policy. In 1973, the June 23rd announcement by former President Park Chung-hee and the July 7th announcements of former President Roh Tae-woo and the post-Cold War order allowed us to open up the era of diplomacy facing the world. And the northern policy only changed in its appearance, and its essence remained the same, allowing us to continue with the northern policy. And during the previous Moon's administration, the name changed to New Northern Policy. The new administration also will continue the cooperation and communication with the northern region with our current northern policy. When we were preparing this forum, we asked many delegates and your excellencies to feel free to share your comments as well as give their presentations. And all of this message that's shared today, we'll make sure it's relayed to the Foreign Ministry and other government agencies. First, we will invite His Excellency Ramzi Tamerov, the Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Republic of Azerbaijan. You may take off your mask. Once again, I would like to introduce His Excellency Ramzi Tamerov, the Ambassador of the Azerbaijan.
It is great to be back here in this very important event. First of all, let me welcome Dr. Cho of World Taekwondo, Mr. Lee of 중앙일보, and President Park of Hankuk University. It is a great pleasure to be here, and definitely my colleagues. Ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen, let me thank the organizers of today's significant event, namely Hankuk University and the National Strategies Research Project Agency. It is great privilege for me to participate a second time in this important event, while there are many changes both in the global order and in the Republic of Korea. It was last April when we gathered together with fellow ambassadors and valuable foreign policy experts of Korea and discussed the ways and means for further development of bilateral relations between Korea and northern countries. Even though many dramatic events were happening in the so-called northern region, followed by dramatic geopolitical changes, we all are still carrying our hopes for peace and mutual coexistence by following the basic principles of international law and values of multiculturalism. Since last year, there have been significant developments in Azerbaijan-Korea bilateral relations, including active exchange between the two countries in political and economic fields, despite the pandemic. I have to highlight the crucial high-level discussions and business forums that we hosted jointly last year to reconstruct or rebuild Azerbaijan's Karabakh and East Senjazu regions. As you all may know, after the 44-day patriotic war in 2020, Azerbaijan liberated its internationally recognized territories from 30 years of Armenian occupation. Azerbaijan implemented long-waiting demands of UN Security Council resolutions by herself. Now Azerbaijan faces a huge task to restore those territories and make it possible for 750,000 Azerbaijani IDPs to return to their homelands. Why I call it safely? Because there is a territory almost in double size of DMZ which is polluted with landmines that already left thousands of casualties and over 100 wounded people in past 1 year. Azerbaijani government's plan, dubbed as the Great Return, includes the establishment of carbon-neutral zones, as mentioned during his speech by the former UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, zones using green and renewable energy resources, construction of the smart city and smart village and related infrastructure, creation of free industrial logistical zones and smart farming facilities, restoration of historical and cultural monuments. And definitely we are looking forward to broader cooperation with the government of Korea and business companies on the implementation of this crucial mission. I strongly hope that the initial talks and business contacts we established last year under President Moon Jae-in's administration will continue and develop further during the tenure of the new Yoon Suk-yeol administration. I also strongly hope that under the new administration, Azerbaijan-Korea relations that share several cultural, historical, and traditional similarities will further develop. We will be able to turn the new opportunity available nowadays into more sustainable and dynamic cooperation between our states. And lastly, I would like just to mention and to appreciate my dear colleague, brother Ersin Erçin, who is participating first time in this format of Northern countries related event. And I believe in his speech, His Excellency Mr. Lee, Chief Editor of Jungang, mentioned about the importance of Korean relations with the Turkey and also the Central Asian nations. I wanted to highlight that, especially in last 5 years, the cooperation between the Turkic-speaking nations is extending year by year. It's happy to see that last year the Turkic Council changed its name to the Turkic Organization, and we have the representation of the Turkic organizations here. We have the Republic of Turkey, Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, Kyrgyzstan, and Uzbekistan. And we strongly hope that the new format of Turkic organization and cooperation between Turkic organization and the Republic of Korea within the format of Northern Economic Cooperation or under another name will continue further the years to come. I thank you very much. 감사합니다.
Thank you, Ambassador. We talked about solidarity, cooperation. Thank you for your presentation. Next, we will invite His Excellency Otar Berzanishvili, the Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Georgia.
Dear distinguished guests, also I would like to praise the the special guest of the UN, former UN Secretary General, Excellencies, colleagues, organizers, it's my privilege to be here. This is the first time that Georgia is participating on this very important juncture. And I think that this Northern policy dimension covers a lot, and I think that this is the wonderful pedestal that we could discuss about the future perspectives of our cooperation. Having such an opportunity, also, being a Georgian, I would like to express our solidarity to the Ukrainian people and also express my humble appreciation for the Korean people expressing solidarity to Ukraine right now, and I would like to thank again in this regard. And also using under this slogan of the peace is more than the triumph. Yes, that's correct. Because that lasting peace in the Korean Peninsula and elsewhere in the world is the paramount importance in this time. And I think that all of us in this audience, we are understanding how important is that. And our peoples, from Georgian perspectives and Koreans, we are having the common sense of democracy and core values, defending rule-based international order and guideline principles of the United Nations Charter, which is very important for all of us. This year we are celebrating 30 years of since the establishment of the diplomatic relations between the Republic of Korea and Georgia. Besides the geographical distances, our partnerships grow steadily and covering full spectrum of bilateral and multilateral formats. Particularly our cooperation in the last decade developed significantly, which elevated acknowledgement between our countries' culture, heritage, history, tourism, investment opportunities, so on and so forth. We exchange a lot of multi-number of visits between each other. But it's not enough, definitely, because that we still have the blank page relations. We are trying to fill out the spheres of the interest of our countries, and I think that we have a lot of things to share when it comes to the business partnership, political interaction, and trade cooperation. Therefore, we are expressing readiness to deepen our cooperation with the new administration in terms of in the prism of the new Northern policy, and in order to mark another successful chapter of our relations. Especially, I would like to emphasize this political and economic relations and the free trade agreement between our countries. In my conclusion, I would like to wish the new administration, and I think we've been speaking about the multilateralism, which is very important in this time for our globe. But for the new administration, I would like to wish the more global engagement of Korea in the international affairs and bolster its stance vis-a-vis the core principles, because we would like to see more strong in Korea, more vocal Korea in the rest of the world. And from the Georgian perspective, in the South Caucasus perspectives, we would like to see more interactions. And I think that this is a wonderful opportunity to exchange the ideas about this issue. Thank you so much, and wish you success.
Thank you very much, His Excellency. He is hoping for more cooperation between Georgia and Korea. Now, I would like to invite His Excellency Ambassador Bakit Dushanbayev of the Republic of Kazakhstan.
Good morning, everybody. Dear Mr. Chairman, dear participants of today's forum, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, dear guests. First of all, thank you for the invitation to participate in such an important forum. First of all, I would like to stress that the Republic of Korea is a key political and economic partner for the Republic of Kazakhstan in the Asia-Pacific region. This year, we are celebrating the 30th anniversary of diplomatic relations between our countries. I would like to note that significant progress has been made in the development of bilateral relations in recent years. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic, our countries maintained a high level of momentum at the summit and high-level meetings. In 2019, the state visit of the President of the Republic of Korea, Moon Jae-in, to the Republic of Kazakhstan took place, following which the Fresh Wind Economic Cooperation Program was adopted between two countries. In August 2021, last year, President of the Republic of Kazakhstan, Mr. Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, made a return state visit to the Republic of Korea. It is worth to note that this was the first visit by a foreign head state since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. As a result of this visit, a joint statement on expanded strategic partnership was adopted. I would like to highlight one historical event that took place on the sidelines of this visit. Kazakhstan handed over to the Korean side the remains of national hero General Hombom-do, who lived the last years of his life in the south part of Kazakhstan, in the city of Kızılorda. In Kazakhstan, more than 1,100 Koreans live in an atmosphere of friendship and harmony, who have become a golden bridge between our two countries. The State Republican Academic Korean Theater of Musical Comedy operates in Kazakhstan, which is the only state Korean theater operating outside the Korean peninsula, as well as the very first state national Korean theater in the world. In June 2022, a tour of this theater is planned on the territory of the Republic of Korea. Kazakhstan and Korea have much in common. This applies to many traditions and customs. Kazakh and Korean languages are in the same Ural-Altai group. It says that we were once one people living in Altai region. There is even a joke that those who loved fish went east in search of the sea. Those who loved lamb remained in the steppes of Kazakhstan. Even outwardly, we are very similar. Many archaeological excavations testify to the similarity of jewelry items. I would like also to note that Kazakhstan is one of the world leaders in the movement for denuclearization and non-proliferation of nuclear weapons. It should be noted that after gaining independence in 1991, Kazakhstan voluntarily abandoned the fourth largest nuclear arsenal in the world and chose a peaceful development path. I am sure that the positive experience of Kazakhstan's nuclear disarmament can also be a good example for the denuclearization of the Korean peninsula. Kazakhstan is ready to cooperate with the Republic of Korea in this direction. Also, Kazakhstan is doing meaningful improvements toward democratization of our society. On June 5th, Kazakhstan plans to hold a referendum on amendments to the constitution, which contain important political reforms and proposals for the democratization of political processes in Kazakhstan. The head of state noted that the constitutional reform is aimed at a comprehensive transformation of the entire model of the state, including the final transition from a super-presidential form of government to a presidential republic with an influential parliament and an accountable government, which entails limiting the powers of the president. The Republic of Korea is one of the largest trade and economic partners of Kazakhstan and one of the biggest investors in the economy of Kazakhstan. At the same time, new opportunities and prospects for cooperation are opening up before us today. The priority of Kazakhstan is the formation of an economy based on innovations and new technologies. Cooperation in the field of subsoil use has significant potential. It is well known that Kazakhstan is one of the world leaders in mineral resources and has large reserves of rare earth metals and strategic assets such as uranium, nickel, cobalt, lithium, and many others. At the same time, only 25% of the country's territory has been geologically studied. In the context of the actualization of the issue of global food security, the agricultural potential of the Republic of Kazakhstan is attracting more and more attention. Given that the economies of our countries are complementary, I believe that the further deepening of our economic ties has unlimited possibilities. In this regard, we hope that the new government of the Republic of Korea will pay attention to the countries of Eurasia, and in particular to the countries of Central Asia. We look forward to further intensification of cooperation. Previously, as it was mentioned here, each government of Korea, regardless of party affiliation, had its own strategy in relation to the countries of Eurasia. Examples may include, for example, the energy diplomacy of President Lee Myung-bak administration, the Eurasian initiative of the President Park Geun-hye administration, and the new Northern economic policy of the President Moon Jae-in administration. Nowadays, the importance of the region of Central Asia and the Caucasus is growing in terms of the need to ensure energy, food, transport, and logistics security. In this regard, we hope that in the very near future, the administration of the President of the Republic of Korea, Yoon Suk-yeol, will prepare its foreign policy program for the countries of Eurasia and Central Asia. We hope that very soon we will know about this, about new Eurasian policy of new Korean administration. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention. 감사합니다.
감사합니다, 대장님.
Thank you, Ambassador.
카자흐스탄에 한국 영화관이 있는 거.
I did not know that there was a Korean movie theater in Kazakhstan. I hope there is an opportunity for me to go visit. Next, I would like to invite Her Excellency Aida Ismailova, the Ambassador of Kyrgyz Republic.
존경하는 포럼 참가자 여러분,
Dear forum participants, good morning and hello.
새로 임명된
I was just appointed as the ambassador to Korea from the Kyrgyz Republic. My name is Aida Ismailova. I am was the vice prime minister and also the 6th national lawmaker and also the member of various government committees. I think that the theme of today's forum resonates with me really closely, and I would continue with my presentation in Russian. Thank you.
Уважаемые дамы и господа, привет. Прежде всего, позвольте поприветствовать всех участников форума и выразить благодарность руководству.
First, I'd like to welcome all the participants of the forum and express my gratitude to our host, HK+ National Strategies Research Project Agency, for organizing and inviting me to this timely, fitting event. I want to emphasize the theme and slogan of the forum, looking for contacts with the North and searching for the solidarity, and peace is more precious than triumph. And I highly appreciate the efforts of the Republic of Korea in promoting cooperation with partner countries in bilateral and multilateral formats. This year, Korea and Kyrgyzstan celebrate their 30th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations, which are based on traditional friendship, spiritual, cultural closeness of our peoples, and mutual benefit and cooperation principles. Mutual cultural exchanges has always contributed in preserving and increasing the closeness of our people. Dear forum participants, among the developed nations across the world, Korea occupies a leading position, and I want to stress that Kyrgyzstan attaches great importance to develop relations with Korea. Kyrgyzstan regards Korea as an important and reliable partner, and mutual respect, equality, and long-term principles are the basis of our interaction. Through the Economic Development and Cooperation Fund and the Korea International Cooperation Agency, Korea provided us with financial and technical assistance. We highly regard and appreciate the assistance. In terms of economic aspects of all things, Kyrgyzstan finds Korea's political and economic reform experiences, as well as IT, medicine, education, agriculture, environment, processing industry, digitalization, and tourism-related best practices useful to study and learn from. We believe that to strengthen and expand the cooperation between our countries, it is necessary to develop and strengthen exchanges in important fields such as culture, education, and tourism. Cooperation in the field of culture is one of the most important areas of bilateral exchange and contributes in building the positive rapport between our people who share a lot of commonalities. One important element which strengthens our bilateral ties is our diasporas and ethnic citizens living both in Kyrgyzstan and in the Republic of Korea. Today, about 18,000 ethnic Koreans live in the Kyrgyz Republic who have preserved and continue to develop their ethnic identity and traditions. About 6,500 Kyrgyzstan citizens live and work in Korea. Both our citizens are contributing significantly to the development and strengthening of our relations. The people of the Kyrgyzstan Republic and Korea are not only similar in appearance, but we're also historically united with our Altaic roots. We are also united by the love of freedom and the desire to develop democracy. As we know, Korea is well known for its good education system. In this regard, we hope that Korea will increase the quotas of their scholarship programs for students in Korean universities, and we also hope to see more student and teacher exchange opportunities. The Kyrgyz people's rich cultural heritage is based on the centuries-old nomadic lifestyle associated historical past. Kyrgyzstan's intangible cultural heritage occupies an important place in our nation's spiritual and cultural life and is recognized as one of the fundamental elements to the nation's spiritual development. The Kyrgyz Republic tries to aim and preserve and enhance historical and cultural heritage of our people, ensure the continuity of the said heritage's development, and strive to preserve national cultural integrity with global space. From Kyrgyzstan, 10 items are included in the UNESCO list of tangible and intangible cultural heritage. The first is the historical and archaeological museum complex, Sulaiman II. Second is Shirdak and Alai Keys, handmade felt carpets. The third is the epic trilogy. And the fourth is archaeological and architectural museum complex, Burna Tower. Fifth is art improvisation, Aitish. And next is national holiday, Nuruz. And we also have the tradition of making week cakes, Kalam. And Kyrgyz traditional equestrian game, Kokboru, is also listed, and male headdress, Ak Kalpak, and the folk intellectual game, Turgus Kurgu, is also listed. In the ongoing context of globalization, the tourism sector is becoming a priority sector. Kyrgyzstan has high tourism potentials and is considered a very attractive country for Korean tourists as well. With beautiful nature, Alps, numerous lakes and rivers, Kyrgyzstan is a country of heavenly mountains and is like an oasis in Central Asia. High mountains, a large number of crystal clear lakes, clear mountain air are all highly appreciated by Korean tourists. And all this can be found in Kyrgyzstan. The number of Korean tourists visiting Kyrgyzstan is growing from year to year. For sure, the pandemic had a negative impact in the sector, but we hope that the stabilization of the pandemic situation will restore the mutual travels of our citizens. Especially, Kyrgyzstan has a visa-free regime for Korean citizens. In this regard, we think that the northern policy should develop more in the transportation and logistics potential. Of the said potential, air transportation network expansion is very important, since foreign tourists from abroad countries prefer air transport. Dear colleagues, recently the global community faced a major challenge that transformed their daily lives, which is COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic had a negative blow to many economies around the world. Amidst such global difficulty and crises, a multilateral dialogue as this allows us to discuss and exchange views about important issues of mutual interest. Today's reality sends us a clear message. Only through joint efforts can we address the recent new global challenges and threats, and thereby achieve meaningful results. Lastly, I hope that today will be useful and interesting for all of us, and I look forward to the open and constructive discussions. I wish you all success and constructive achievements. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. As Her Excellency mentioned, I hope that the COVID-19 pandemic will be over very soon so that students from the Kyrgyz Republic can visit Korea and we can visit the country as well. Let me now invite His Excellency Ambassador Yusuf Sarizoda was supposed to participate, but due to some urgent matter, at the embassy, on his behalf, we have Sharif Munira, the second chief of mission, who will deliver his remarks on his behalf. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of Ambassador Sharif Zoda, let me read his remarks on his behalf. Due to some emergent situation, he was not able to make it. Dear colleagues and participants of the forum, good morning. First of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the organizers for this opportunity to speak in the opening ceremony. It gives us great pleasure to welcome all of you to the forum, which contributes to strengthening our cooperation. The Republic of Tajikistan attaches great importance to the development and deepening of cooperation with Korea. Expanding relations with it is a priority of our foreign policy. And we consider Korea, which is a friendly country, as a reliable partner in the international community. I would also like to mention that Tajik-Korean relations are currently at the stage of development. This was largely facilitated by the development of relations in the areas of trade, economic, and investment activities, as well as the humanitarian activities of Korea and Tajikistan. Over the entire period of cooperation, Tajikistan and Korea have been making efforts to strengthen the legal framework for bilateral cooperation. And in this regard, I would like to emphasize the importance of bilateral cooperation between the two countries. In 2021, it was a very meaningful year for both our countries. because our relations improved dramatically in 2021. And also, I would like to mention that the Korean embassy in Tajikistan was opened in 2015, and the KOICA office was also opened recently. And this means the opening of a new era of cooperation between the two countries. I would also like to mention that we're quite satisfied of the trust-based relations between the two countries. Ladies and gentlemen, the Tajik government is interested in the northern policies of the Korean government. The new northern policy is an ambitious vision, and it is going to help promote cooperation in the areas of transportation, energy, and infrastructure. And I believe that this initiative will facilitate cooperation in the private sector and exchanges for science and technology and cultural exchanges. And I believe that this is going to help promote trust-based cooperation between the two Koreas on the Korean Peninsula. This is a mega project for the region. And I believe that this forum is an important link for this new northern policies. We are interested in the vision of the new northern policy, and we provide all the support for the Korean government, and I hope that Korea's vision will be fulfilled. Last but not least, I hope that the participants will share their views and offer practical recommendations to contribute to the development of bilateral and multilateral ties between our countries. And in this process, I hope that we will all benefit from the fruitful result of the forum. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Next, our speaker is also an alumni of our school. His Excellency Zokir Saidov, the Deputy Chief of Mission of the Republic of Uzbekistan. Dear colleagues, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, first, on behalf of the Embassy of Uzbekistan, I would like to express my gratitude for inviting me to today's forum. This forum will contribute to the further development of the cooperation between Korea and the participating countries. The foundation for the development of the diplomatic ties between Uzbekistan and Korea was laid on December 30th, 1991, when ROK was among the first to recognize the independence of Uzbekistan. The two countries established diplomatic relations on January 29, 1992. Since then, the two states have held active bilateral dialogues, as evidenced by the 17 rounds of high-level meetings over the course of 30 years. The Uzbekistan-Korean heads of states dialogues were held on a regular basis, playing a key role in deepening the bilateral relationship and making the Uzbekistan-Korea relations even more special. In 2019, Uzbekistan and Korea elevated their relationship to a special strategic partnership, and throughout the past 5 years, 4 rounds of bilateral summits were held, opening up a new page in the development of comprehensive and practical cooperation. Also in December 2021, President of Uzbekistan, Shavkat Mirziyoyev, paid his second state visit to Korea, further strengthening the bilateral relations. President Mirziyoyev emphasized that in times like these, for a long-term practical relationship, the current list of priorities need to be reconsidered. The bilateral cooperation should be able to respond to the current global economic changes. The Republic of Korea is a major trade and economic partner of Uzbekistan. The trade volume and the number of joint ventures between the two countries have nearly doubled in the recent years. Despite the pandemic, the multifaceted cooperation has developed dynamically. Uzbekistan and Korea have made significant progress in concluding a FTA agreement. Once the agreement is signed, the trade volume will increase and the trade imbalances could be reduced. Korea's investment in Uzbekistan has surpassed the $7 billion mark. Korea's investments are mainly in chemicals, petrochemicals, textile, construction, and agricultural JV businesses. The Exim Bank of Korea, as well as the Economic Development and Cooperation Fund, have been cooperating with us for a long time, and the results deserve special attention. For instance, the ECDF's loan assistance limit was raised to $1 billion. This fund will be used until 2023 for Uzbekistan's new project development. The constructive cooperation with KOICA is also increasing. The president of Uzbekistan called for 3 major development agenda, namely green growth, digitalization, and stronger social safety nets. All promising joint projects and programs and action plans are proposed to be reviewed through the lens of these priority agenda. President Mirziyoyev emphasized that Uzbekistan's human capital and natural resources, when combined with Korea's advanced technologies and knowledge, will allow us to build a good foundation to produce and develop high-demand products on the global market. In this regard, President Mirziyoyev proposed, with the participation of EDCF, to build in Tashkent a semiconductor and electronics production site named the Uzbekistan-Korea Electronics and Semiconductor Cluster. This cluster will house educational institutions and advanced R&D centers and other industry academy cooperation entities. As for the jointly created Textile Technopark and Agricultural R&D Center in Uzbekistan and their activities, both countries expressed their mutual will to actively promote these said activities. In Uzbekistan, when it comes to digital economy, AI, smart city, outsourcing, next-generation communication, and technology development, there's real interest in the achievements made by Korea in these fields. In the fields of medicine, preschool, and higher education, both countries have made significant progress. Since 2020, the National Children's Medical Center has been in operation in Tashkent. It's the first joint project in the field of medicine. The Korean education model is one of the best in the world. That is why in Uzbekistan, the preschool system was changed based on the best practices and knowledge provided by Korea. It was completely revamped. The president of Uzbekistan held the Uzbekistan-Korea University President Forum in 2022. There, the importance of the innovative cooperation development among universities was emphasized, and the creation of a platform was proposed. Dear participants of the forum, this year marks the 30th anniversary of the establishment of our diplomatic relations and the 85th anniversary of the Korean diaspora living in Uzbekistan. Against this backdrop, President of the Uzbekistan declared 2022 as the year of mutual exchanges between Uzbekistan and the Republic of Korea. He also proposed to open a Korean Diaspora History Museum and build a library inside the Korean Culture and Art House. Uzbek and Korea share similar stances on various issues. The countries have been supporting one another in the international arena. Korea supported the election of Uzbekistan as a member of the Human Rights Council, and also for the 25th of the UN World Tourism Organization General Assembly in 2023. Korea supported the candidacy of Samarkand as the venue. In turn, Uzbekistan supports Korea to become a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council in 2024 and 2025, as well as the candidacy of Busan to host the International Exhibition Expo 2030. In promoting sustainable development, we highly regard the growing role of the ROK Central Asia Forum. Despite the ongoing COVID pandemic, Uzbekistan and Korea are still active in cultural cooperation. Cultural exchanges are important in bilateral interaction and thus is given great importance at the state level. The history of friendly relations between our peoples dates back to the era of Silk Road. The late 7th century fresco wall painting in the Afrasiab Museum, which illustrates the Samarkand ruler and Goguryeo ambassador, is an evidence to that. For a few years, before the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, the representatives of both countries took part in various cultural events held in Uzbekistan and Korea on a regular basis. In particular, in 2019, Korean cultural figures went to Samarkand to attend the International Music Festival Shark Taro Nalari, and also to Kokand to participate in the International Festival of Folk and Applied Arts Kunar month. In the city of Andong in Korea, the Uzbekistan Culture Day was held successfully. The event featured national pavilion, Uzbek traditional arts, and photo exhibitions, and held a concert that Uzbekistan artists participated. Aside from this, another historically meaningful event took place at the end of 2021. In Sochu district in Seoul City, the great ancestor of Uzbekistan people, also a politician and philosopher, Alisher Nalvi's monument was erected. This event was timed to coincide with the 580th anniversary of the birth of Navoy, as well as President Mirziyoyev's second state visit to Korea. At the same time, Uzbekistan's tourist attractions are being promoted to Koreans. Over the past year, the appeals of Uzbekistan's tourist attractions were made to videos. Over 20 videos were broadcasted on KBS, EBS, and other major Korean TV channels. Moving forward, to strengthen the mutual understanding and dialogue about our cultures, I would like to propose to consider the establishment of an Uzbekistan Culture Center in Korea. In Uzbekistan, Korean history, language, culture, movies, pop music, and traditional food are gaining a lot of interest. In educational institutions, young people who study the Korean language is growing, and we know that in Korea, the number of students learning Uzbek language is also growing. We know that Hankuk University of Foreign Studies Critical Foreign Language Education Program teaches 11 foreign critical languages, and we're very pleased that Uzbek is one of them and is being taught for the first time in Korea. Distinguished guests, I will now conclude my remarks. Throughout the past, Uzbekistan and Korea's constructive cooperation has become a special strategic partnership. To that end, the two countries will continue to see a development of our multifaceted bilateral relations, and I'm confident about it. All the opportunities are presented to us, and then most importantly, there's the mutual aspiration and endeavor to achieve this. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. I hope that the Cultural Council or the Culture Center of Uzbekistan can be established in Korea. As I mentioned previously, we have with us the Turkish ambassador to Korea, even though it was not included in the program. And actually, at our university, there was a photo exhibition celebrating the 30th anniversary of the relations between Korea and Turkey. So let's invite Ambassador Elçin from Turkey to the podium.
Mr. Chairman, President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, because of the last-minute participation, I haven't prepared any statement, but I have a few notes I'd like to share with you. First of all, I should tell you that it's a great pleasure for me to attend to this forum meeting the first time. I particularly am thankful to Ambassador Chang, the former ambassador of Korea to Turkmenistan and Azerbaijan. He visited me and mentioned about this forum. The first time I have been informed about this forum through him, and my brother Remzi Teymur, ambassador of Azerbaijan, also encouraged me to attend this meeting, and of course, World Taekwondo Federation chairman has also invited me. So I'm grateful that you included me in this privileged forum. Thank you for that. Turkey, as a Eurasian country, greatly enjoys its strong and cultural, historic ties with the brotherly countries from the Caucasus to Central Asia, including Republic of Korea. Historians and researchers, in fact, you know, I was the Director General of Asia Pacific region before assuming my ambassadorial job here. I've been here many times, but I did not know the fact that we had kinship with the Koreans. According to the Korean researchers and historians, we lived, the Turks and the Koreans lived together side by side in the Central Asian steppes, the 5th century, in the geographical area today. It's in China. It's called Manchuria, and they lived side by side, married from each other, and they greatly influenced each other's attitudes. And today, Turks and Koreans have many similar traditions and customs. On this solid basis, today we regard Republic of Korea as our closest ally and friend in this part of the region, in Asia-Pacific region. I do not even want to mention about our fight together against communist invasion in 1950s. Turkish participation in the Korean War has changed the history maybe, but this is only one factor. Our relations with the Koreans is just rooted back to the centuries ago, and on this solid basis we enjoy a great cooperation and relationship with the Republic of Korea, and Korea is our second largest trading partner in this region just after China. And we have a bright future, and this relationship will continue to flourish. But I associate myself with the words of the previous speakers, particularly that of my brother Ramzi Teymurov of Azerbaijan. There is still a large room to maneuver and expand our relationship through the increased regional cooperation. Cultural initiatives bear utmost importance in that regard. I suggest you to read, if you haven't, the report prepared by Ambassador Chang, Renaissance of Eurasian Solidarity through cultural influence, including Taekwondo. So I largely and mostly agree with his findings and conclusions. And we should certainly strengthen our solidarity as the countries of, starting from Turkey to Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Central Asian states. There are also close brothers, including Korean Peninsula. Hopefully one day the North Korea also will be joining to this strengthened cooperation. And I believe that the northern policy of Republic of Korea bears importance in that regard, and there will most probably our political approaches in that regard can create a good synergy with the northern policy of the Republic of Korea. We should work more closely, and when I go back to Turkey, I will also inform about this tendency and will of the countries in the region to strengthen the bonds among each other, and I'm sure Turkey will be ready, and it is actually ready to work more closely together with Republic of Korea, as well as, of course, with the other countries in the region. Thank you once again to invite me to this forum. After me, I'm sure my successor, new ambassador, will also be in close consultation with you. We should continue to encourage our governments to strengthen our bonds on relations, because we have all the ingredients needed. What we need is to focus more, to work more, and maybe to create something concrete, a world map, and how to say, a roadmap and a plan of action to concretize our words with the deeds. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador. As you mentioned, hopefully North Korea one day can join this forum. So we just concluded the first roundtable. We will reorganize the venue and proceed with the taekwondo demonstration from World Taekwondo. So
and just to prepare the seats for the demonstration.